This is the new Rode Wireless Pro, Rode's latest wireless microphone system, and it adds some exciting new features like 32-bit float recording with 32 gigabytes of onboard storage, Rode's new gain assist technology, a built-in timecode generator, headphone monitoring on the receiver, and a lock-in lavalier connector on each transmitter. Now, we've already sold a huge amount of these, and I'm not surprised because they're actually a really versatile option for a wide range of scenarios. And in this video, we're going to showcase some of what it can do. So, what's included? In the box, you get one charging case with 2 transmitters and 1 receiver, some furry windshields for the transmitters and lavalier mics. There's 2 mag clip goes that attach onto the transmitters and can be worn on top of clothing. There's 2 of Rode's lavalier 2 mics with clips, windshields and color tags, a TRS to TRS cable for plugging into devices with a 3.5mm mic input, 2 USB-C to USB-C cables, and 1 USB-C to Lightning cable. And then finally, there's a lens cloth along with a case to carry all these accessories. So arguably, the 2 new standout features here is the introduction of 32-bit float recording and timecode to these units. So we'll take a look at those first. So 32-bit float essentially means recording with a wider dynamic range. With regular 24-bit recordings, if the sound is captured too quietly when recording, it is possible to boost that sound in post, but as you raise the level, you also raise the noise floor, which is never ideal. Also, with 24-bit recordings, if your audio source gets too loud and it clips, it's not possible to fully recover that in post. However, with 32-bit float recordings, you can raise quiet recordings without increasing the white noise, and you can essentially recover louder recordings that would have been clipped normally. This is really handy to have in a wireless system, and it means you don't have to set the gain level perfectly or even focus on adjusting it on the fly if you'll be editing the sound later. You can decide the perfect level afterwards, which is incredibly useful in some situations. So here's an example. I'll record a short segment now with the Rode Wireless Pro. I've got it in this interview go here, and I'm going to plug it into the camera with the camera level too high, and then I'll also trigger the onboard recording on the 32-bit float internal recording of the Wireless Pro so that we can compare how the recordings sound. So this is an audio test of me recording with the Rode Wireless Pro with the camera level set too high. And if we quickly jump over to our editing station, we can see that the 24-bit recording into camera was distorted. And even if we try to lower it, it doesn't make any difference. Whereas this is the 32-bit float onboard recording that we can adjust here as needed. And it has all of the information and it hasn't clipped, which is really great for peace of mind. So let's listen to that clip again, but with the 32-bit float audio. So this is an audio test of me recording with the Rode Wireless Pro with the camera level set too high. So the other headline feature here is the new timecode generator that helps with syncing audio and video in post. And you can use it in a few ways. You can record timecode as an audio signal, which can be done on any camera, even if the camera doesn't understand timecode. Or you can use a method called jam syncing, which works best with cameras that do understand timecode. So I'll quickly show you how you can toggle between the different modes. So first you need to connect the receiver to the Rode Central app on a computer. So plug in the charging case with the USB cable. And if you go to the Rode Central app, then you need to select the receiver and make sure that timecode is enabled with the same frame rate you plan to film at. Then you can open up the Timecode Modes menu where there are 5 different ways of working with timecode on the Wireless Pro. In Timecode Mode 1, the audio from both transmitters will be merged together and sent out of the USB and the receiver's left channel at the same time. And the timecode signal will be sent out of the receiver's right channel. This mode is useful when wanting to record timecode as audio to camera or a device that doesn't recognize timecode. Timecode Mode 2 captures the audio from a headset microphone via the USB's left channel and timecode information to the USB's right channel, while also sending the audio from both transmitters out of the receiver's 3.5mm output. Timecode Mode 3 works the same as Mode 2, apart from the audio sent to the USB's left output channel will be merged audio from all 3 microphones. So that's the 2 transmitters and the headset microphone. Then there's Timecode Mode 4, which is the same as Mode 3, except it's been optimized for listening with regular headphones instead of a headset and a microphone. And then lastly, there's Timecode Mode 5, which records a timecode signal on both the left and right channels of the USB and 3.5mm output. This mode works with cameras that do recognize timecode. And what's nice is that you can jam sync multiple cameras in this mode. And if you want to use it with cameras with a BNC port, it will work with cables like this one from Tentacle Sync, which I've listed in the description down below. However, because this mode puts timecode on both audio tracks, it means you can't get the audio from the Rode into camera, which means you can't monitor it to check if anything is going wrong, like clothing rustle or anything like that. However, interestingly, there is a little bit of a workaround for this. If you jam sync multiple cameras in Timecode Mode 5 and then put the receiver into Timecode Mode 1, the cameras will all stay in sync. And then you'll be able to get merged audio on the right channel and timecode on the left, therefore allowing you to monitor on one of the cameras while everything still stays in sync. However, we did find that you have to change this mode on the device itself in order for everything to stay in sync. If you change it using the Rode Central app, the receiver will reboot and then it'll go a few frames out of sync. So make sure to change the modes on the receiver's UI directly. Another useful tip when working with timecode is to make sure that this box that says Show Mode on Wireless Pro is always checked for each timecode mode you'll use, as this allows you to view the timecode clock when on the receiver's home screen. So let's actually do this. I've got a Canon C70 and a Blackmagic 6K Pro, and then I also have the Rode Wireless Pro. So let's set the receiver to Timecode Mode 5 to jam sync both cameras together. So I'll just do that now, using the device's UI. 4 and 5. So what we can now do is if I hop over to the mode that displays timecode, it's actually displaying the timecode clock. So now what we can do is we can plug a 3.5mm cable into the Rode Wireless Pro, and then also into the Blackmagic 6K Pro. And I'll just show you on this closer camera that the timecode clocks on the 6K Pro and the Rode Wireless Pro are now in sync, which is great. And then if we unplug that and then we plug into the C70, the C70 though has a BNC timecode input, so we can use our cable from Tentacle Sync to plug in. And if I hold it again in this close-up camera, you can see that the timecode on the Rode Wireless Pro will then sync up with the C70, which is really nice. Now we can set the receiver back to Timecode Mode 1 using the device's UI and then plug it into either camera with the 3.5mm cable. We can then record the audio track into camera and monitor it as well, which is the important part. And then the internal recordings on both of the transmitters will have matching timecode to both cameras, so they'll all sync up perfectly in post. So what I'll do now is I'll quickly set this back to Timecode Mode 1. And I'll just plug it into the C70 mic input. And then we can see instantly on the right-hand side that the C70 is getting some audio levels, which is exactly what we want. At the time of filming this, Adobe Premiere and Final Cut Pro don't have a feature that allow for syncing timecode, but DaVinci Resolve does. So inside of Resolve, you simply layer them up on your timeline, right-click, and select Auto Align Clips based on timecode. And that's it, job done. One thing to note though, is that while this is a fantastic feature, especially for small productions, it's not a full-blown wireless timecode solution. It can't receive timecode and it doesn't have Genlock, so it won't keep the clocks in sync over time. So for longer productions, you'll need to keep resyncing the clocks as they will drift. So they're brilliant for small projects, but it's not a replacement for a full professional timecode system with Genlock. A new addition to the Wireless Pros is their charging case. Each unit's battery is quoted for lasting up to 7 hours, but with the charging case, it can store more than 2 full recharges for the whole system, which is nice. But the biggest benefit of this case is that you can store them in your camera bag and they'll always be fully charged and ready to go when you need them. You just have to worry about charging the charging case. On the case, if you press the button next to the LED, it will display the internal battery status. A solid green light is a healthy charge, amber is low, and red is very low, and it will flash red when it's critical. But my favorite thing about the new charging case is that you can connect it to a computer and use it in a few different ways. This is now how you can export the onboard recordings from the transmitters and also adjust the settings in the Rode Central app all at once, which is really convenient. What's nice is that they automatically show up on the computer as a removable device, just like a regular hard drive would. So if you prefer to drag and drop your recordings, then you can. Just note that when exporting in this way, the files will be saved in their original 32-bit float WAV format. Lastly, there's Intelligent Gain Assist mode, which basically adjusts the microphone's input levels automatically to make them more balanced. We've seen this before on Rode's Wireless Me, and here there's two different modes of gain assist. There's an auto mode and a dynamic mode. You can switch through these modes on the transmitter by pressing the right button on the bottom of the receiver. And then if you press the left button, it will toggle between auto and dynamic. Auto gain assist tries to give you more of a consistent sound, which could work well in uncontrollable environments. I'm thinking interviews where the subject often changes from speaking quietly and then loudly. And then dynamic gain assist mode still aims to balance the audio, but in this mode, there's more of a focus on maintaining the dynamics of the sound, both the louder and quieter parts. So this is a bit more of a subtler option than full auto. But what's nice is that you can turn both of these modes off to control the level manually too. Simply long press the left button to toggle the gain assist on or off. So all in all, I've been really impressed by the new Rode Wireless Pro system. I think they're an incredibly versatile product for what they can offer at this price point. And you can easily scale them for casual uses, like with a phone or connecting to your computer for Teams or Zoom calls. But then they're also at home in a more professional situation, like using Timecode to jam sync cameras together, or using 32-bit float internal recording to record dialogue perfectly in challenging environments. And I personally own a lot of Rode Wireless products already, but these new features in here are definitely enough to mean that I'll personally be upgrading to them. But that's me. What do you think of the new Rode Wireless Pro? Please let us know what you think down in the comments below. Are there any features that you think are missing that you'd like to see here? Let us know. And as always, if you'd like to buy them for yourself, you can head over to proav.co.uk. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.